Hello everyone and welcome back to another Civil Air Patrol video where we are interviewing Cadet TXgt Pierce today. So welcome, Sergeant. It's very nice to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, so this should be pretty exciting because I know the last video we had a newer person who had just joined Civil Air Patrol right before COVID started. Was that the same case for you?
Well, actually, I have been in the program for less than a year, and I've just been ranking up super fast, as fast as I could.
Oh
But
boy.
yeah, just every time it hits the deadline, I would take my tests the day after and then just wait.
Wow. So do you feel like you've been getting a good experience as an NCO so far? Because if you're a tech sergeant, that means you've been a sergeant for at least 2 months. You passed your Wright brothers, so that's awesome. During COVID, that can be a little bit more challenging because you have to learn everything on your own or like learn it virtually through meetings. So how have you found that experience?
Well, I know I'm supposed to lead drill, and that's been hard because I don't have cadets to lead.
You
But
don't?
no, because of course we're doing virtual meetings, and my squadron, they don't do drill meetings or anything like that. Um,
So, okay, because I know some wings, they actually are far enough along in the phases that they've been approved to do some in person activities. So, some squadrons are doing in person PT or drill testing.
yeah, for Texas, at least here, there's been multiple spikes around our area, and so
Okay.
it's just to start up again.
Well, you could
So,
always drill your siblings.
yeah, if they would comply, but
It's a
oh
good
well.
experience. Like, someone who is, well, I don't want to say stubborn, but if your siblings are like, I don't want to learn, then it would be a good learning experience for you to try to work on your persuasive speaking skills
Hmm.
and convince them to do it and then teach them how to do it because one of the first steps is first being a follower, which I think you had a little bit of time to do, right, where you did learn some in-person drill, at least a little bit.
Well, I'm pretty good at that. Yes,
Okay.
I can go for that, and I have studied my drill over the course,
Mm-hmm.
kept up with PT, but I just haven't taken tests. What our squadron is going to do is they're going to waive our PT tests and drill tests for now, but when we come back to in-person meetings, we have to take all of them.
That,
First, but then we'll take them.
well, I
So
hope it goes well. I know
yeah,
actually some people have said that what they do at their meetings is that they have the parents record like a video of the cadet doing the PT test and like showing the scores on that video, and then like they would get credit for the PT testing that way just because they are completing the requirements and the parent can verify that they actually did like 35 sit-ups or 25 push-ups.
yeah.
So, if that's something that your squadron wants to do, you could always share that with them and be like, "Hey, we can still do testing." Um,
I
and the
think it,
drill testing, we my unit was telling people to verbally explain the maneuvers. How do you verbally explain how to do an about face without getting all confused? Like it's so challenging to do unless you're doing a visual, right?
yeah. I guess it would be hard to do it that way. Like if you couldn't see them, or if you were just video chatting. Yeah.
Do you want to take on my challenge of explaining how to do an about face verbally without showing me how to do it with your feet? It's up to
Uh-huh.
you.
Sure. Well, you start at the position of attention, and then with your right foot, you place it back behind your heel, and then you spin around basically. That's the and when you do like on the ball of your foot behind your heel, and then when you spin around, your feet should come to the position of attention at the opposite side or behind you.
Is there a specific direction I'm turning?
Um, I don't know.
I would turn to the right.
Oh,
Because
oh,
you do trace the C. So you take your right foot, right? You trace the C, and then you put the weight on your left ball of your foot, and no, is that no the heel of your foot, and then the right ball of your foot, and then you put pressure on both of those, and then it'll turn you 180 degrees.
When I said right foot, I had assumed that they would get that. Yeah, you're probably right. I probably should have explained it better, but that's the gist.
No, you did a great job. I'm just saying that, like, using those specific words and, like, explaining you are physically turning your body in this direction, because some people might be like, am I turning to the left? Is this right? And then they'll just, like, they'll just lift their feet up and they'll put them back together and be like, I did it, when they may not have actually have done it. So, so does that mean you haven't done any in-person activities yet?
No, not anything actually. Well, every once in a while I'll see someone from my squadron in public and say, "Hey, how you doing?" But we don't do any cap related stuff during that time, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe we've been talking about it.
So, interesting. Are there any specific things that you really, really wish you could do right now in person?
Yes, I wish I could do drill and be with everybody. And since we were doing Zoom meetings, the meetings were limited to 45 minutes or something like that. And so the reason why they want to get a new platform is so they can have meetings for longer, and then they might try doing PT or drill, something like that.
Mm-hmm. So, does your wing do wing email addresses or, like, team drives or anything like that?
I mean, they have our emails and they send emails a lot, but I don't know anything about team drives.
So you don't have, like, a specific Civil Air Patrol email address, correct?
Oh, well, yes, I do have that.
Is it through Google or through Microsoft?
I'm not sure.
Okay. That's okay. If you are using Google or Microsoft with the wing email address, then your squadron could potentially use one of those platforms for meetings.
Oh, I see what you're getting at. Yeah, we talked at our meeting last night about doing something like that.
Mm-hmm. So I hope you guys get a chance to do that, because Google Meets and Microsoft Team meetings, they work really, really well, and you can have, like, the application downloaded onto your mobile device or on your computer, and then be able to have, like, the chat box, and people can raise their hands in Microsoft Teams. So it's a pretty useful tool that we've used.
Well, we got Google Meets, and I think that's what we're supposed to do our next meeting on.
Okay, very cool. So, hope the transition goes well. Sometimes people are like, oh, there's a change here, and then they don't catch the change until, like, a few weeks later, and they may not make it to the meetings. So,
Yeah.
I hope it goes well.
Well, some of our cadets don't attend Zoom meetings or online meetings at all, which is too bad. But we have several new cadets over Zoom meetings, and so that's great.
That is good. So, if people aren't attending those meetings, they aren't active participants, right? But are they, like, trying to promote still? Or are they just not active at all?
Most of the cadets don't promote or don't promote very fast. I'm probably the fastest promoting cadet in my squadron. Some cadets are still the same rank from when I started, so it's just a matter of who you are, I guess. Some people like to do it faster than others.
That's true. I know I very quickly promoted up until I was a cadet second lieutenant when I was a wee lass, and I found that I was going too quickly because I was promoting so quickly that I wasn't getting the experience that came with the grade.
Oh, yeah.
And my mentor at the time, she was like, "Hey, like, you should probably slow down and just, like, get the time that you need in order to understand how delegation works, or public speaking, or providing others with feedback," because I didn't really have that experience yet, and people have an expectation of cadet officers that they know all of this stuff, and they shouldn't have been promoting unless they were doing all of those experiences and such. So that's just my word of advice to you. Just make sure that you are getting those opportunities, trying to teach classes, give people feedback and stuff, and that should help with your leadership development.
Yes. Well, I was afraid when Encampment got canceled this summer. I was doomed because when I reached Chief and I can't promote because I don't have Encampment experience, I'm just going to have to wait. But I'll try to go to the winter encampment if possible.
It seems like quite a few wings are trying to do winter or spring encampments, just so that people can get in through the system. But I don't know if we'll be able to do it or not. At least at this point, because it's just too far out in the future to know what everything in the country is going to look like.
It's a little bit funny that my wing, they said postponed to winter. It's really like canceled to winter, but anyways.
So are you serving on staff in your squadron?
No, but I have asked for a position, and the senior members and higher up cadet staff are still pending. Like, they're still deciding where they want to put me, I guess. They haven't told me yet.
Okay. That's cool. I think we do staff rotations every 4 months, so then people can jump into a position, and then if they want to switch into a different team, or like, you know, with the SDAs, the staff duty analysis, they can switch between different ones as needed to have those senior member mentors and have those discussions about like what a public affairs officer does or logistics.
Well, actually, you might be surprised to hear that our highest ranking cadet was recently promoted to a cadet second lieutenant. And so our cadet commander was a chief for a long time.
Interesting. Did you know that cadet commanders are optional?
Yes. Yes, okay. I did.
Cool.
But also, our second highest ranking cadet is also now and still a chief, our first sergeant. And so that leaves me at third highest ranking cadet. And so when that cadet promotes, I will probably become the first sergeant.
Okay. Do you know what a first sergeant does?
They assist the squadron command or the cadet commander in leading drill and stuff like that, right?
They do. And one of the major responsibilities in addition to that is helping with the fitness and leading like stretching or planning out the activities that are associated with it, like the health and fitness or the healthy fitness activities that you're supposed to do every month. Because I think you're supposed to do like some kind of briefing where you gotta inspire people to live a healthier lifestyle. And typically, NCOs who are first sergeants try to anticipate the needs of the commander by taking that personal initiative to try to resolve things and work actively to present solutions to the cadet commander. So, like, if a flight sergeant needs guidance, then you could always mentor them. Or if there's something going on with the schedule and everything's going crazy, then you could say, hey, cadet commander, this is what I propose we do, and just let me know if you want us to do it. And then the cadet commander will probably be like, yes, just make this small change, and then you're good to go. Off you go. And I think it's one of the most vital positions because it's kind of like the glue that holds everyone together, and it's that role model that everyone can look up to on the NCO and airman side in phases 1 and 2.
Well, actually, I already try to get in touch with new and old cadets and just get to know them over this summer break because that's really all I've had time. Well, not had time to do, but like that's really all you can do.
That is really important though, like that individual consideration and like having those conversations with people and showing them that, hey, I am your leader and I care about you and your success, not only about you in the program but outside of that. So I think that's fantastic. So keep it up. You can do it.
I've never tried to pull rank because I heard a saying that said, if you have to pull rank, that means that they don't see you as a leader. And so I try to attain rank, but I never, flaunt it.
I think that's a great philosophy to have. Like, I agree with that too, because it's about establishing that trust and respect. And if it's not mutual, if it's not two-way, then people aren't going to want to listen. And just by treating them like human beings and as I said, just listening to them and talking to them can really enhance the quality of the environment and the productivity.
Hmm. I really have to focus on that because as a younger cadet, most of the cadets are older than me, but I outrank them, and so it might be hard for them to want to follow me if I'm younger than them, you know. But
Yeah.
some that's not always an issue because of my size, but it might arise sometime.
For me, it's not about the age or the grade. It's about the maturity that the person has. So if there's a really really mature 15-year-old who's like a cadet captain, sure, then I will respect them. I'll have fun interactions with them, and we'll get stuff done. But if there's like a cadet colonel who isn't doing their job, who is just kind of like sitting there as not a figurehead, but someone who has been put into that position just because they're a colonel and not because of their passion for the program, then I might put that cadet captain into a position instead of that cadet colonel.
Yeah.
So that's my philosophy, and I'm glad we're on the same page on that, and I hope that other cadets in your squadron follow that example, because it truly is about caring for your people, instilling them with the core values, and inspiring them to excel.
Yes.
Do you have any questions for me?
Well, how long have you been in CAP?
I joined CAP in September of 2010.
Cool. I joined in September actually too. So
Hey!
is coming up.
Membership buddies. Yeah, I joined when I was 12.
Oh,
And
cool.
so now I'm a senior member, which is cool. It has its benefits. I personally liked the cadet program a little bit more because there's more opportunities on the cadet side in terms of like scholarships and doing NCSAs. Like you can do NCSAs as senior members, but you're not a participant. You're a staff member.
Yeah.
So
Do senior members still get do they still get the qualification if they staff the TSA?
So, yes. So, if you attend like Encampment or an NCSA as a senior member, then you can wear the ribbon. And
Oh.
you get credit for attending because you are attending that activity.
Mm-hmm. How
Yes.
many have attended?
NCSAs, I attended 2. I did SUPTFC in Columbus, Mississippi, and I attended IACE in Belgium.
Cool.
Yeah.
Um,
So that's something to look forward to if you get to Earhart and you're old enough to do it. You should do it. It's really good.
well, I aspire to become a Spats cadet as well.
Huzzah!
And then someday, hopefully, get into the Air Force Academy. That's my dream.
Nice. The Air Force Academy is pretty competitive. I do hope you get into it, but if you don't, then you could always do a senior military school and just look at what ROTC programs the different schools have to offer.
Yes, well, I have a lot of other options that I'm going to apply for and do stuff like that. I have a lot of backups, so don't worry.
Oh, good. Was there something in particular you wanted to do in the Air Force, like be a pilot or like
Um,
specialty that you were looking at?
I wanted to be a pilot, like a lot of people, but I'm not specifically sure on what I want to fly. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I'll take anything, pretty much.
Anything? Be careful now. If you say anything, Mother Air Force is going to be like, okay, we're putting you on this tiny little plane in the middle of nowhere.
Well, I'm sure when I get more into it, like when I get older, I'll think about it more.
Mm-hmm. Have you looked into flight scholarships at all?
I want to do the Cadet Wings program and get my private pilot's license. Yes.
Okay, good. There are a lot of opportunities in CAP, so I'm glad you know about the Cadet Wings program. So for people who may not know, the Cadet Wings program basically takes you from no flight hours to private pilot's license, and it's fully funded. And then it's typically a residential training where you go somewhere, you live, eat, and breathe flying. And then they walk you through the process. So I think that's a great opportunity, and I hope you do get selected for that. And as you progress, make sure you're actively getting involved in your squadron, actively getting involved in the wing, and as long as you have like those different activities and you're doing well in school, then that makes you way more competitive for CAP scholarships.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I'm trying to do everything I can. I do pretty good in school, and I do a few extracurricular activities like in JHS, and so that helps.
Good. NJHS? National Junior Honor Society, right? Good. Service. Volunteer service everywhere. I know a lot of people do Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, NHS, and NJHS, depending on how old you are and if it's middle school or high school. So keep it up. That's awesome.
I'm actually trying to work towards my community service ribbon. I have 26 hours now, I think it is.
Nice. It's a little bit harder during COVID, though, isn't it?
Actually, no. It's been easier because I have a friend at my church, and he runs all like doing the yard work and mowing the grass, and so occasionally I'll go over on the weekends and help him mow the grass on the mower or something like that.
Nice.
It's actually more fun ways to do it.
Cool. Something that we've done in the past is do like help with food drives, or there was like a little festival that I volunteered for where it was like elementary school kids, and it was Halloween, and they would have to throw little rings on top of baby pumpkin stems, and then I would hand them out prizes if they got it onto the little pumpkin stem, and it would be like this really cheap Halloween tattoo that they could just use the water and just slap it onto their arm, and they'd be like, yeah, I got a ghost now.
Were you for that, or was it just something private?
Oh, that was through one of the local elementary schools. And so that was actually outside of Civil Air Patrol, because the service hours that you do are supposed to be outside of camp.
Yeah, I get it.
So that's just a fun example of something that I did for volunteer service.
I can just imagine, like, you come up to them in your uniform and give them a sticker, and they're like, military woman, cool.
Yes. But we do a lot of additional stuff for volunteer service in CAP. Like, we're doing COVID response right now with my wing, where we're helping with the warehouse, and we like distribute food, and like giant cups with 30,000 pounds of food come in. And then we have the giant pallet jacks, and we're like, lift all the food up, move the food, and then plop it down.
Yeah, we have a senior member who he's been really dedicated to that. He's been using our plane a lot. I think he's either gotten 1,000 hours or done 1,000 trips.
Wow. In the past few months?
Yes, for COVID response.
Wow. Have you helped at all with anything for COVID?
Not personally, no.
Okay.
Not yet. Unless you count moral support.
Moral support is good. I think that counts, because it depends on what you're comfortable with. It depends on your area and opportunities that might be available. So
he actually got COVID, and the rest of his family, and so I talked to him a little bit while he was going through that.
Aww.
But now they're all better. So
okay, that's good. Well, I'm glad that he and his family are doing better now, because COVID can get pretty bad for some people.
Yeah, we have one long-time senior member that's been in the program for a long time, and she, even if we did reopen, she'll have to come in like the last phase, because she's one of the high-risk people. So.
Some squadrons, like the wing I'm in, we actually are allowed to do some in-person activities, as I mentioned earlier, and if people can't attend in person, they set up like a little webcam, and then they live stream the unit activities with whoever wants to just like jump into the room and like see what is going on.
That's awesome. I wish our squadron would do something like that. Maybe they will.
Just set up a phone. Put up a little tripod, have the phone, start live streaming it, or have someone tape the phone to their head. It's like headbands, but with the phone and with the person there.
Yeah. I like that idea.
It could work. So do you have any sage words of advice or wisdom that you would like to bestow upon our viewers who are watching today?
Well, my dad said that the best piece of advice his dad gave him, and now he's given me, is that if you're going to join the military, be an officer. So,
Yep.
maybe something for everyone, but
Mm-hmm.
for thinking about it.
Yeah, I think part of it depends on what you want to do in the military. Like, if you want to be more hands-on with your job, then you'd probably enjoy being enlisted more, because officers are more about the paperwork and the delegating. And if you don't want to move as much, then enlisted might be a better route, but you don't get paid as much. So there are benefits and, well, pros and cons, I should say, to both being an officer and enlisted. But hey, if you're going to go be an officer, go do an awesome job. Civil Air Patrol is a fantastic first step into getting into that military lifestyle, or just serving the community if you don't want to do military stuff.
Well, I do have a question for you. How did you find CAP?
Okay, I found CAP when I was 11. My sister and her friends would disappear every Thursday night. And then they would come back, like, super happy, super excited. And I was like, what are you doing? And so I went to... Wait, let me see if I have my piece of paper somewhere around here. I went to my first meeting. I can't find it. I had my paper. I think I put it away somewhere. I went to a fireworks safety class at my first meeting. It was like July of 2010. And they were just super excited about it. And I was like, this is amazing. We're talking about fireworks. And they also mentioned the drunk vision goggles, where you put it on and it, like, skews up your vision. Like, it either makes things really blurry or it, like, shifts things over and it's, like, all distorted. And I was like, wow, I would love to do those. I didn't actually get to use them until, like, 2019. And they were actually pretty underwhelming in comparison to what I thought them up to be. But yeah, so that was my first introduction, and I joined as soon as I could. So then I just got actively involved, and I did Race Across America within, like, the first few months of me joining. I got an orientation ride. Didn't get one for another few years, but that's okay. And yeah, so that pretty much summarizes my joining of Civil Air Patrol experience. Fireworks safety, drunk vision goggles. Yes.
That sounds like a fun way. If you had to use two words, that would be a very interesting combination. But the way I found CAP was, I had just gotten back from a summer camp, and my parents, they were taking me to a Mexican food restaurant. And I want to do something that's like Boy Scouts, but not Boy Scouts. So he searched the web, and he's like, hey, there's Civil Air Patrol. That sounds like something you would enjoy, because you want to be in the Air Force. So, oh, by the way, I've wanted to be in the Air Force since I was 7. So,
wow. That's great.
So we looked up our squadron, and we went to a meeting, and that was drill night. They were all in their blues and everything, and so I guess they were supposed to be serious, but we had a really nice cadet captain, or was it? He was either a first lieutenant or a cadet captain. But anyways, he was super nice, and everybody liked him. And they kind of goofed off during drill, and they were like, "This is not the way that all meetings are."
But that's fun. What, are they saying that all meetings are fun?
No, they were just saying, like, they don't always goof off during drill. It's got to be somewhat serious. But it was a fun first meeting, and then it got a little more serious. But that doesn't mean I didn't enjoy it. I still enjoy it a lot to this day. So
good.
And last night was actually our meeting, and I got to see all their faces, and we got to chat a little bit, share information. So that was really nice.
That's great. When I talked to Sergeant J was our last interviewee, he said that since he couldn't, like, drill other people, he would yell off into the forest Do you too yell into the forest? Or you
I
use your diaphragm into the forest?
I live on Padre Island, and so I don't have a forest. There's no trees here, except maybe palm trees.
You could yell into the palm trees.
But speaking of, I'm getting my boating license, so maybe I could take it out one day and scream into the ocean.
You should do it. And then
Yeah.
just record yourself using your diaphragm into the ocean, hailing all of the seagulls and the fish from the sea.
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be funny. But mind you, it's not the same as the young Navy. What is it? The seamen?
Sea cadets.
The sea cadets. Yes.
Yeah.
So don't get into a boating competition with them. They'd probably win.
Actually, CAP members don't get mad at me, but I've been looking at joining the Sea Cadets too, just to see what it's like. And then when I get into high school, they have a Navy JROTC program, and so that's the only one they have, and so I'm gonna join that anyways.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be a lot of fun, I think.
And there are a few differences, so make sure you split the differences between Civil Air Patrol and Navy JROTC, because they might be like, what? You know this? Well, you're wrong. And
Actually, our first sergeant, he was a recent graduate of the same high school my high school and another high school share the same NJROTC program. And he went to another high school, and I go to mine. Or I go to middle school now, but once I go into high school, I'll be in that program, and I'm gonna focus on shooting. That's what I want to do.
There is the marksmanship badge that you can do.
Actually, I have technically, I'm a marksman, but I only have the pro marksman rating because I'm still waiting for the marksman packet to be restarted.
I see.
But anyways, my dad, he was big into shooting, and both my parents were great shots. So I don't know if it's genetic, but I guess I got it too.
Very cool. So I hope JROTC goes well when you get the chance to do it. One recommendation I do have is don't tell them that you've been in Civil Air Patrol until you've been in for a while.
Why is that?
Well, I mean, that goes for academies or senior military college or going into ROTC programs, because some people don't like it. They're like, no, your prior experience doesn't matter. Everyone is the same when they first come in. And I will treat you all exactly the same. And I personally don't agree with that philosophy, but some programs are run that way, where it's like you're not allowed to take personal initiative because you aren't supposed to know anything yet, and you can't really do anything until after you have experience in that program. So I would just say be careful about telling them that you've been in Civil Air Patrol, because they might consider that as like, wow, I'm better than everyone else who's here already, who's brand new to JROTC.
Well, they may think you're more focused on CAP than you are in JROTC, and they just don't do a good job at both. But I've been talking with my first sergeant who was in the program before me, and he says the guy who runs it is very nice.
Okay. Well, if the guy is very nice and he's open-minded, then you should be fine. But if there are like more senior our JROTC members that are like, oh, you have prior experience with Civil Air Patrol, then that could result in some not as positive experiences that you may want to avoid. So that's just a small warning, because that's something that I've seen with a few programs. It's not all of them. It's not a generalization. Just it's something to be aware of.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that that's the way it is sometimes, but I don't think that's the case with mine, actually.
Like I did ROTC for a year, and I was at a senior military college for a year before I transferred into a different university, and I didn't say anything, but I wanted to help other people. And I remember on the first day of New Cadet Week, I was standing in attention and we were doing facing movements, and the person who was next to me was my roommate, and she was having a really hard time doing the maneuver. And then I tried to help her while we were in formation, and I just got yelled at. They screamed at me for a solid 5 minutes for how I was not supposed to be helping other people, that I needed to focus on myself, and that I needed to correct myself. So I had to say like a specific verbiage on who I am, what company I was in, and then permission to correct myself. And it was just not the best experience.
That's really backwards because one day they'll do that to you, and then the next day, teamwork.
Yes. Yeah. Very confusing times. So just be aware that sometimes can happen at academies or ROTC stuff.
But I've had a lot of information. I've known a lot about it because my dad, he went to the Coast Guard Academy.
Oh, that's the hardest one.
Really? Why do you think that?
I think they are the most strict with PT standards, and well, I've heard a lot about it, and it might be one of the most physically demanding ones, but otherwise, I don't know. Continue. Sorry.
Yeah. He did the shooting program for the Coast Guard while he was in college, and he almost made the Olympic team, but one person from the Navy beat him by 1x. He was pretty darn.
That's so cool, though.
He got out. He didn't really retire because he didn't stay in for 20 years, but he got out as a lieutenant, and so we're very proud of that. Yeah. And so my entire motive isn't because of him. I wanted to go to the Air Force for me, of course, but it's also very inspirational to have something like that in my family.
Definitely. And you will blaze your own trail.
Exactly.
Very cool.
He hopes I'm better than him. So
maybe you will be. We'll see.
We'll see. So you got any more questions for me?
I would say that this is pretty much all of the questions that I have on my end. You answered my sage words of advice on if you go military, go officer track if you can. And I think that's pretty good advice as long as people take all of the options and the pros and cons under consideration. They might find that they enjoy officer stuff because of just more leadership opportunities. Well, not necessarily more, but they're more higher level leadership opportunities in delegating and looking at the operational level of leadership. Did you have any final questions for me before we sign off?
Yeah, well, I just wanted to say I know that advice isn't for every cadet because some of them don't want to be in the military, but it's just an idea for those who do.
Much appreciated.
Well, I'm glad to be here, and maybe we can do it again sometime. It's been nice.
Yes, thank you for joining me. We're going to sign off. We're going to say goodbye. Thank you guys for watching.